This report is a result of work of three civil society organizations from Ukraine, from Poland, and from Lithuania. It is based on data which was collected starting from January 2021 and ending in August 2022. And this data was collected on national TV channels in our country, on printed media, on social networks, on online media. And to start my presentation, I would like to ask you to try to guess which country is being described by Russia disinformation in such way that I will tell you. So, which is the country within Lublin Triangle that is under external governance, at the same time being used by the West secret government, will be cold and hunger during upcoming winter, discriminates against Russian speakers, persecutes people for their political views, and controls the information environment. The correct answer to this question, that all three countries within Lublin Triangle are being described by Russia disinformation the same way. So all these messages are being disseminated in all three countries, and all three societies need to be we need to make somehow resilient to all these messages. Well, talking about concrete messages and narratives which Russian disinformation spreads, we categorized them in with three targets which Russia wants to achieve. The first one, beliefs and trust, to undermine beliefs and trust of citizens. And you see, I think that many of you know very well all these messages. The second target is undermining intergroup and intragroup relations, and also, like, we all are Russophobic, Nazis. Let it be, we somehow behave as refugees. And the third target is international attempts to undermine international cooperation and unity. Talking about not only similarities but also differences when we are talking about Russian disinformation narratives, we may say that, of course, Russia tries to adjust somehow their messages to be better perceived in each country. So, for example, when we are talking about this undermining NATO and EU unity, in Poland and in Lithuania, Russia says something like it was counterproductive to join the EU for Poland and for Lithuania, and Poland, for example, needs to make this Polexit to leave the EU. In Ukraine, regarding this attempts to undermine unity, Russia says that please do not go to this NATO and EU. You don't need it. Look at Turkey. It already has the candidacy status for 20 years and so on. And also, of course, in this massive of narratives and messages, they are very important for us, very painful for us currently, because Russia tries to stop the military aid for Ukraine, tries to tell people in Poland and in Lithuania that it doesn't worth to help Ukrainian. For example, in Poland, Russia tries to weaponize our historical our common history and to use some historical narratives and to say that don't help people with such behavior in the past. And answering your question, what was the biggest surprise for me in this work? Yes, I had such a big surprise. I think that I may tell this insight from off-record meeting with the Minister Kuleba. It was, I think, in the beginning of Lublin Triangle in summer of 2021. And we had a meeting, and he said that he would like to raise questions about our common history with Poland and with Lithuania within this initiative, but that he is very afraid to do this because he was, at that time, he was very skeptical that it is possible for us and for Poland to find some solutions, how we explain difficult pages in our common history. And he said, like, no, maybe we could have conduct some conference, but academia, society, they will just quarrel with each other, and Lublin Triangle will fail as an initiative. And the surprise for me was that we achieved in this common document this year to describe historical narratives, to include them in this document, and we agreed on them, and we had no quarrels. Honestly, I have colleagues here in this panel, and they will also confirm that it was a smooth process, and I think that it's a big shift, frankly speaking, not only in expert community, not only on strategic communications level. I think that it is a big shift between our nations, and it will help Ukraine really to join the EU faster. Should I give some recommendations to raise this point?
Yeah, please, because the report really is very valuable contribution to our fight against disinformation, because this report really contains the also practical recommendation. And sorry, I'm just using this opportunity to invite our guests to follow the link we can find in your brochure to have a look at read this document. It is available in online folder. Please have a look.
Yes, when you download this report, you will see, of course, the huge amount of different messages and narratives. And it is a question, it is a question how all our countries are able to stay resilient for so many years if we are under such a big informational attack. And indeed, we are resilient because we have different opinion polls. For example, in Ukraine, in August 2022, opinion poll showed that 93% of Ukrainians believe in Ukraine's victory. Another opinion poll showed that 72% of Lithuanians are satisfied with the government's response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And another opinion poll shows that 95% of Poles think that Russia's current attack against Ukraine cannot be justified. So societies still are resilient, and we tried to understand why we achieved this resilience and what recommendations we can share with our colleagues from another countries. So we all know that Ukraine started to ban Russian state TV channels in 2014, and then a couple of years later we also banned Ukraine, in legislative field, they were Ukrainian TV channels, but they were fully funded by Russia. And Poland and Lithuania then joined also this way and also started to ban some TV channels. And we recommend not to be afraid of banning state-connected Russian media, because they have not much in common with media and with the freedom of speech. And we talk not only about RT or Sputnik, but also those not state-owned, but state-connected TV channels like NTV, or what they have. several of them. Also, we in all our 3 countries, we established authority bodies which are responsible for strategic communications and which are responsible for countering disinformation. For example, they established some monitoring systems which are working on finding quickly the messages and narratives and on attempts to fast respond to them. Also, we of course believe in all media literacy initiatives, and in all 3 countries we have them. In all 3 countries we have the negotiations, have the constant work with big tech companies. It's not easy for us. It's not easy to do such negotiations on only on the level of one country. It is a sphere when our efforts should be united with bigger countries. And one more remark about big tech companies. Of course, we want them to adjust their policies in countering disinformation topic. But we all have the problems how to communicate with Meta or with Google, or we don't know what will happen with Twitter maybe in a half of a year. But in Ukraine, we have another problem. We already heard it from the previous panel. It's Telegram. But that was an advice from my colleagues just to switch off the Telegram on your phones. But it's not a way in which we see the situation is being developed in Ukraine, because in Ukraine, during or after the full-scale invasion, Telegram became the most popular source of news and #1 source of news among all social networks and messages. And when I am talking about, when I am talking to my colleagues from media outlets in Ukraine currently, when I ask them how they will work in situation of electricity shortages, because they need to find some formats which can be easily consumed when you have lack of electricity and internet connection. The first answer of each and every media manager in Ukraine is to develop Telegram, to develop my content on Telegram, because already there are a lot of people there, so we need to go to follow the consumer, and we need to develop this place. So it could be the next big challenge for us.
Thank you, Galina, and thank you for really amazing overview and fantastic job